Demos. These video game demonstrations have been with us for several decades. This February, like several times before, I've tried many game demos during Steam Next Fest and asked myself, has it always been this good for people like me, someone who doesn't review games and doesn't get preferential treatment when it comes to games, their demos or prototypes? Therefore, I will not be talking about those. This comfortable, this easy. Why am I playing what is basically a bunch of incomplete games instead of playing the hundreds of full games I have lying on my accounts, never played? It has never been like this, that thing is certain. In the early days, one could get game demos several ways. The beginnings, rather than in terms of game demos as we know them, were in terms of the shareware method, sharing games on floppy disks and bulletin board systems, or BBSs. Apogee Software was one of the companies using this method. Only a fraction of the game, often the first episode of Men in Total, was available free of charge. Upon finishing this part, the player was shown information how to contact the creator and pay for the rest of the game. And, thanks to this, I still have no idea how the first Commander Keen game ended. A good source were video game magazines. One would usually get every month a curated selection of game demos, often with bonus content, be it preview videos, walkthroughs, trainers, and sometimes even a full game, freeware or otherwise. Naturally, one would also get a physical medium with an appealing cover and a magazine where one could perhaps read about exactly the games that were presented as game demos. Magazines such as Level or Score are published to this day. Older people may remember Dopier, Excalibur, GameStar or PC Gamer. Magazines about IT in general were a similar case. One could find a game demo or a full game there as well, although in a lesser quantity. Console gamers had their own video game magazines. For example, when it came to the first PlayStation, it was the official PlayStation magazine. The blossoming of those started with that one, since older generation consoles were primarily based on cartridges, which were noticeably more costly to produce as a medium than compact discs. However, if you didn't have a cheap PlayStation console which allowed you to play copies of games, without game demos you had a very limited choice of games. The price list from the turn of the century is more than enough to illustrate the situation, and those prices are before we account for inflation. That would be even more expensive. But it wasn't solely about passively receiving information. Game demos served also as a chance to shine, if one was very skilled with a controller. Similar to this was the goal of the month section. Other source was similar. Different game demo compilations such as Herní výběr. A source less usual but used as well and acclaimed by many, such as the NakeyJakey video talking about PlayStation demo discs from the fast food franchise Pizza Hut, were game demos packaged together with other products as a promo material. Game demos were packaged sometimes literally on separate discs, sometimes only through software on the same one, with full games. Such was the case for Silent Hill with Metal Gear Solid, or Need for Speed Underground 2 and Burnout 3. Similarly, you could find a game demo compilation packaged with a new console, namely the famous Demo 1. Mine served me well, be it Gran Turismo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, or especially the fighting game Tekken 3, where Eddie and Xiaoyu were more than enough. And when I think about it, I play as Xiaoyu to this day. Let's face it, Eddie was kind of an easy mode. A seemingly flawless thing had its flaws though. The price, for example. be it video game magazines, game demo compilations, Pizza Hut, or a game demo disc package together with a new console, it was always necessary to pay. Game demos didn't have the intended effect in the video game industry. Who wasn't interested in the game didn't get the demo and didn't buy the game. Who was on the fence got the demo, but a bad demo could discourage that person from buying the game. Who was interested in the game got the demo, but a bad demo could discourage that person from buying the game. Who didn't try the demo could, in theory, still buy the game even if the demo was bad, or even the game itself. Statistics were even released at video game conferences, concluding that having a demo as a bonus would hurt sales, as mentioned in a report from Kotaku. J.B. Ogre, however, argues that these conclusions were faulty. Unfortunately, unless somebody invents a time machine and stops the spread of those statistics, this blow to the game demo life will not disappear. As is clear from these points, it was an unfavorable situation, or at least it seemed that way. But it wasn't the only nail in the coffin. First of all, we have to take the game demo development costs into consideration, which, whether you want it or not, eats away from the total game funding. Second of all, we have to keep in mind that game demo will not hide the imperfections of the full game. It multiplies them thanks to game demos being made when the game is usually not completed. Or, by contrast, if you make promises to the players that you then can't keep when the full game is released, you can easily make problems for yourself. Such was the case in Bioshock Infinite or Watch Dogs demos, just to get these comments. So they just deleted the whole game and started again? My other me is playing this version in a parallel universe. Lucky bastard. This basically still holds up today. I wish more than anything Ken would go back and remake the game just how it was in the early demos. It's like Bioshock Infinite alternate version or something. This is one of the main reasons why I hate vertical slices. They show you something to get excited about that might never see the light of day, and in the end it ends up looking and playing completely differently. Don't get me wrong, Bioshock Infinite was an amazing game with a mind-bending ending, but it could have been a lot more. I'm still mad about this. If you believe in other dimensions, in one of them gamers are playing this version of the game. You're a liar, I know the truth. Wow, Aiden was telling us that the graphics weren't gonna be like this whole time. I didn't realize how bad that they screwed us over until I watched this again after getting the game, not only graphics wise, but the way people interact and how they act. Even his voice sounded better in this. This demo still looks better than Watch Dogs 2. What was once a useful marketing strategy wasn't always that effective. Long-term trend of physical media abandonment put an end to the era of game demos, or at least one of the eras. With internet connection speeds increasing and with game development tools being more and more available, soon came a new era. While the aforementioned long-term trend of physical media abandonment had some negative sides, there were also some positive ones. Game demos moved from the physical plane to the virtual one, and have been since then available almost exclusively in electronic form. This came hand in hand with some benefits, most of all with an easier availability, not just because of internet connection speed increases, but also how you only needed an internet connection and you had a wide variety of gaming experiences on the tip of your fingers thanks to game demos. You usually don't need to pay for anything else. Paying solely for game demos is thus more or less a thing of the past, like when we used to pay for ringtones and phone screen logos. Websites made for downloading were pretty much replaced by gaming platforms such as Steam, PlayStation Store or itch.io. There you have everything in one place: game demos and full games, reviews and ratings, social features, a lack of the usual ads, and other things. Gabe Newell, the founder of one of the platforms, was right. The easiest way to stop piracy isn't about implementing anti-piracy measures. It's about giving people a service better than what they're getting from the pirates. This analogy is not accurate, but the main point still stands. Comfort of the player comes first. Starting with how they choose a game from the catalog, where they can see the game, its genre, screenshots, features, and people's opinions in one place, then continuing how they download and install the game with a click of a button. Installation wizards now mostly exist only in distant memories, although they were enchanting in their own way. And finally, how easily they know about the game in a game list, about its updates, walkthroughs, discussions, and so on. These platforms also, in a way, replace the uses of video game magazines and game demo compilations. Video game magazines no longer offer game demos, only older, already published discs with game demos are available to buy, and you no longer see game demo compilations either. The closest to these come various compilations on itch.io, for example Haunted PS1 Demo Disc Game Jam, or Happy the Hippo game demo from a fake demo disc 8/26/2001. It would seem that now is a perfect time to be releasing game demos, so why are we not seeing them more often? We are, just typically not in the form we were used to. It's not exactly necessary to make demos, above all in case of the largest companies. Nowadays, a game can be returned, or more precisely, can be refunded if you played it only for a short period of time. Some game dealers let people try the game for free for a short period of time. Some developers turn to public beta testing or early access, and one can find a walkthrough for pretty much any game imaginable. We see more and more that instead of a typical game demo, a demonstration from the full game, we get a standalone gaming canapé, sometimes in the form of something that is not in the full game at all, even if it could have been. All you need is to look at how many games on Steam have the word prologue in the title. Despite this word, it's usually a standalone gaming experience, similar to the shareware games from the past, which is well put in Polygon's Christopher Grant's quote about PT, which was a playable teaser for the game Silent Hills. He wrote, "PT stands on its own. It's a novella or a short story, not a chapter out of a longer work." Of course, this is not the only case. Resident Evil 7 had a teaser called Beginning Hour, and Alone in the Dark had Prologue, which, based on its logo, I refuse to call anything else other than Grace in the Dark. Typical demos, as we know them from the earlier days, still exist as well. Demos of well-known titles come out from time to time. Majority of the most famous games, however, direct their attention to the pre-orders. There are, of course, exceptions. For example, when it comes to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, among other pre-order bonuses, you get access to a game demo. With this, we go back to the past, where in order to gain access to a game demo, you had to pay money. If we look at the most popular game titles, game demos play second, sometimes even third fiddle. Where game demos prevail, however, is the indie scene. Large companies are able to invest a lot of money in marketing. Developers of indie games aren't. This is, in my opinion, pretty clear, and hardly anyone will probably object to this opinion. I see vividly at least one person who just said, "Challenge accepted." All I can say to that is, I'd be glad to read your comment. How then can some poor indie game developer advertise their game? Appealing screenshots, smooth trailer, spamming a URL of your game to every corner of the internet. Yeah, probably, but I'd argue that the game demo is of the same, if not of greater, importance. I'm going to explain how I came to this conclusion. A practical guide to indie marketing states: nothing shows off your project better than a playable version. While you can get your game in front of potential customers through appearances at regional shows, you'll reach the largest audience by distributing pre-release versions online. A public beta, demo, or early access version of the game. This is not without reason. Thanks to and based on Steam Next Fest, which has been with us for several years already, I propose these. Proof of concept. Text description, screenshots, sometimes even videos may be able to lure people in, but it's always good to have a demonstration of the fact that the game has a chance at becoming real. And what a better way to show this than with a game demo. People donating to developers on crowdfunding platforms such as Kickstarter, Indiegogo, HitHit, or Startovac learn that the hard way. We can also use the game demo as a tool to gather feedback, as it has happened before, mostly during preview shows for game journalists. Too much of a good thing is a thing, however, as evidenced by Mike Finnerty in the article for Entertainment.ie. With so many games receiving some degree of crowdfunding in the modern era, and Steam's policy of allowing developers to put games on early access, games are in a perpetual demo state. Game demos also noticeably help spread awareness about the game. Streamers, let's players, and influencers alike have a lot of impact and are able to give the game a chance to stand above the rest without hurting its sales. And given the amount of games released daily, one must put all the more effort into making their game known. Long gone are the times where game demos were shared on floppy disk or CDs among friends. All a person needs these days is an internet connection and a variety of creators who are certain to share something that person will want to try immediately or add it to their wishlist right away. Wishlists keep growing. In turn, when people are searching for games, Steam algorithms will top ranks for them. Show the discussed game more and more. Amir Satwat writes that with this, almost all metrics rise when you enroll a game demo to Steam Next Fest. But it is not solely about this. While games are often cheap and sometimes even free, there is a lot of them, and it is a good thing the player can decide, even if not for the fact they like the game, then at least because they can try if their computer can quote-unquote run the game. Last but not least, there is the question of archiving efforts. As many people before me have mentioned, last time I saw this information was in a Tango Mushi video, that 85% of games are unavailable or even lost. Therefore, it is good to keep game demos that, in times of game servers and always online games and activation keys, probably will never cease to function. Furthermore, it would be a great loss missing out on aforementioned prologue game demos that don't limit themselves to just this work. All we need to look at are game demos such as Stanley Parable demo, Half-Life 2 Uplink, and Half-Life 2 Lost Coast. This time, actually last is a related point to the one before. At least when it comes to Steam, the reality is that not every demo is the same. Regular demos are visible on the full game page in the form of a small button. Independent game demos such as prologues are listed separately, get a separate store page, and with that, separate second chance at promotion. does the future hold for game demos? Should we expect another fall? Among VR games, many of them have game demos because you can't precisely approximate that experience with only a screenshot or a gameplay video. Should we expect an even greater rise? Is there still a place to rise to? I don't have a crystal ball, so unfortunately I do not know any of that. All I know is I recently tried many game demos during Steam Next Fest and it was good, comfortable, and easy, and that I am looking forward to next February, which is most probably again going to bring this festival. Because, as I have realized thanks to somebody, I'd much rather experiment free of charge instead of investing time and money to AAA games that usually are soulless cash grabs and rehashes of stuff we have already seen. One could definitely talk about game demos for a longer time. I didn't delve into their earliest history, which I haven't properly experienced. I eventually started talking about non-playable game demos in the form of demonstrational videos, but ended up not going deeper into the topic. I didn't talk in detail about specific kinds of game demos. That it is a good topic to talk about is evidenced by the fact that, before I managed to finish writing the script, 2 channels I am subscribed to independently of each other published videos with game demos as their topic. Stephanie Sterling talked about game demos that could be potentially used as a filter when it comes to the skills of the players, and Outsidexbox talked about game demos that were very generous with the amount of content in them. Left off unmentioned were other game demo festivals, of which the last was Ludo Narracon, festival of games with powerful stories. All that and more shows the game demos are here to stay, at least for now.
Set me free! Meow meow!
I'll free you.
Yeah.